Some
Welcome to Continue Mission Radio with Captain James McCormick. By veterans, for veterans. Guest hosts tonight are author Greg Meekin and Miss Val, our military radio gal. Continue Mission starts now.
You got me headed to the left, headed to the right, headed back and forth, but baby, it's alright. You got me going to the east, going to the west, going up and down, cause baby, you know best. All day, all night, running around, I'm never gonna stop because you never settle down. Got me shooting into space, flying at the sun. I'm never coming back, cause baby, you're the...
Good morning, America. Good morning, world. It's August 27th, 2025, and this show is coming to you from sunny and hot Arizona. This is another rapid deployment of Continue Mission Radio with Captain James McCormick. I'm Val Olson, and I'm here today at my kitchen table alongside Greg Meekin. This is an exciting show because it is another broadcast on the Veteran Channel. Just like Continue Mission, the Veteran Channel is produced by veterans for veterans. So let's light the fuse. Buckle up, everyone. Welcome to Continue Mission. Greg Meekin, what is on your heart today?
Oh, Val Olson, my favorite investigative journalist. What's on my heart right now is, am I the only person who thinks the world is mental right now?
That's an opener.
Forget K through 12. Think K through 13. I'm going to read something real quick, right out the gate. Again, forget K-12. I propose K-13 with 1 year of civic service after high school. I published this idea 2 years ago and have included that excerpt on why I came to America and what I think now. Highlights, because I guarantee you, no smarty pants out there know the details. I promise you, even if you have multi-college degrees or if you're even from Toronto. Okay. Number one, highlights of grade 13 program. We also call it a springboard to success. Springboard to success. Number one, mandatory for all U.S. students. Number two, paid internship. Paid. 40 hours per week at minimum wage or higher. Number three, student choices. Military training or law enforcement, trade schools, Peace Corps, Red Cross, Habitat for Humanity, and endless other possibilities. Number four, curriculum to include studies of the U.S. Constitution and Bill of Rights, the Pledge of Allegiance, household financial management, manners, verbal and written skills, and yes, a working understanding of the English language. Number five, students do not graduate from high school without successfully completing year 13. Number six, this program mirrors selective service registration, but we include males and females, and is conditional to earning future federal benefit programs such as the GI Bill, VA mortgages, government loans and grants, etc. Number seven, most importantly, number seven, no exceptions, no diversions or college enrollment. Most institutions will give you full credit for grade 13, but all students will start fresh in year 14 via college, employment, or what have you. This is what I published again a couple of years ago, and this got great interest at the time. Val, grade 13, mandatory 1-year civic service. As a matter of fact, for folks that are catching up right now, this is a long published story. This concept was featured. We actually featured it, Val, on previous Continue Mission episodes. Imagine that, because we're continue missioning today, eh? But this was featured on 3 separate programs on Friday nights on Continue Mission. And but we're talking years ago, 2022, 23. And but now in 2025, it's being talked about more and more. Think Mike Rowe. Hello. Trade School Alternative. Hello. Think Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk. I don't even have his book here to plug, but it's the scam, the college scam, of, look up Charlie's book on that one. But so now it's being discussed more and more. And as we have a very proactive, pro-business CEO type of president in the White House, he's looking at this stuff too. So I wanted to put it out there, put it on record again. And sounds funny, but we'll always hear me referencing my YouTube channel. But there are like 3 clips on my YouTube channel about grade 13.
Yes.
And one good one on my Rumble channel. This is funny, Val. You remember this was with Father Mike Pacella, the Friday night. There's an 18-minute clip on my Rumble channel that was purely talking about this concept. It involved you, it involved me, it involved Captain James McCormick, and involved Father Mike Pacella, who is very verbal about this concept because he comes from higher education. Hello. I pray that we have a drop-in guest today later on. Val, Father Michael Pacella is going to try and drop in. Imagine that. Timing is everything. But if he is able to pop in, you never know with these retired military guys.
Yes.
But if he is able to pop in today, we will query him, his thoughts on grade 13. 1 year, mandatory civic service. I'm going to give the microphone back to you, Val. I normally don't just go straight front load content like that, but it's important, I think, to get it on the record because bottom line, it applies more and more in 2025 and moving forward. So, Mike, back to you on that, Val.
Absolutely. As a mother of 3 children, my oldest is 20, my youngest is 8. That formative year after grade 12 graduation, that is such a special time and window of imprinting. And so I also feel in that 1 year, because we're doing that with our son now, that there is a time to kind of maybe undo and redo and clean up and then, let them out of the nest. And just to have that stable, that starting foundation into adulthood, that's really precious time. So I love this concept. And I think this is going to be a place for mentors, like the real, not the people that want show and fame, but those that are called into really guiding and steering, whether it be fatherhood, motherhood, whatever. But I think that that's the basic is we can look back and go, okay, what do we need to imprint a little more on? And because they carry our brand. So the brand of what the United States is, we need to bring them in-house and model that. And it's like in the home environment, you deal with anything. Like when my kids have an issue, I don't say, oh, well, you know what? I get to sign off or check out. It's like we deal with anything and everything. Military's the same. You deal with it as it comes, but this is a really proactive approach that involves all the generations. So there is no retirement here. We are the veteran channel and we're recruiting always. So we look at retirement as redeployment. So you come in, you relax for a little bit, and then it's time to get right back into mission. So, right, this is, you're needed, you're wanted, and this is possibly one of the most important missions for the future that we do, because we are at a time where we have technology, where we have all these, massive type of weapons of warfare. But if you don't have a strong mind, a strong heart, and that ability to navigate and know who you are from an identity standpoint and a cultural and country, all of that together, I mean, we're a target. We're a target, and we don't want to be the target.
One thing came to me, because there's so many aspects to this.
Yes.
Again, this 1 year civic service. The key, it's a paid internship.
Yes.
I always say, everyone, let's like we used to. Everyone graduate high school, take our summer off. You know, go to upstate New York, Lake Champlain, or wherever you go. And then after Labor Day, you all punch the clock into whatever your internship is going to be, and it's whatever you choose. The one thing it won't be is, quote, college or university yet. Yeah. It's a paid internship, a minimum wage. Minimum wage. I like that. I think either Father Michael had said last time, maybe or James McCormick, maybe E3 pay level. I don't know what that is now, a couple grand a month or more. But one thing hit me, though, as you're describing how it's going to affect your youngsters, is, can you imagine this? Can you imagine how much Charlie Kirk would like this? A year, you're technically are not allowed to take on any student debt. You're going to be paid. Think about this. How powerful. You're going to be paid. You punch the clock. It's minimum wage. I'm blown away that minimum wage right now is a living. Most states around the country, it's over $2,000 a month without even overtime or anything for minimum wage. I'm going, okay. So you punch the clock, and again, whether it's Peace Corps, whether it's Habitat for Humanity, we love the military. We have the ROTC preceding this. But what I love is the no student debt. You actually get some time to again kind of retool your plan in life. If there's college in the wind, great. They'll likely give you credit for freshman year. But imagine that, no student debt, and be able to save some cash like we used to during our summer vacation. Yeah. We used to, I remember I saved $2,000-3,000 one summer at minimum wage. Yeah. So I see that we actually, I hope things work out. I see we might be having a guest parachute in.
Yes. Val, I'm going to let you text him if you wouldn't mind there, and just make sure his devices are connecting in, and I'm going to chat here for a minute. So
go ahead.
Yeah, I'll take you off stage here for a second. So I want to, just go into a little bit on grade 13 and why there's so much appeal with this. We take these kids as teenagers and expect them to make a life commitment decision that affects them for the rest of their life. And how can we do that overnight when we don't even let them decide really what's for supper? So I think that 1 year just of breathing room and being able to get just reset and learn more about yourself, your skills, and be around people that truly are in it for the future, and their hearts are involved. This is going to attract some of the best from industry, from all of the different branches. And so I'm really excited, because I know that this is going to grow. It makes sense. And the world is changing. When the way we look at education is changing. And as a homeschool mom, I've talked to many families who have homeschooled their children, and 1 year of university, of receiving that, what sadly many call indoctrination, it's like all of that hard work, and you lose it. So you want to address those things, like who is shaping your child's mind. I mean, even though they're a young adult, they're still your child. So I'm all for grade 13, and I love what Greg has to say about it. And I'm going to bring him here, and we're going to try and we're having a little issue with Father Mike this morning, but
Sure.
We'll troubleshoot. We'll
He's
troubleshoot
going to
through it.
play with it on his end. I told him that his mic and camera don't seem to be engaged. Again, we'll work through that. That's
Yeah.
what this is all about, rapid deployment. We've had folks parachute in and they're on the road. Remember Sheriff Mark Lamb? He was
Yeah.
driving. He was driving and he tuned into a live radio show. So there you go. I hope that we can get Father Mike dialed in. The one thing you touched on, Val, very important. By the way, Father Mike said that he could. Oh, here we go. He said that he could hear us and see us. So it looks like he's there. I'm going to take one more quick minute, okay, before we bring him in. But so important to this. So important to this. If anyone has ever heard me rant about the generations, how many times? Which way? Very important. And this is really for people in 2025 to understand. If we're focused on the generations, it's because the younger generations now are the new leaders. Specifically, of course, we've got Generation X, which I always say are running the world. They're 40s and 50s. We've got the millennials are in their 30s and 30s and early 40s, Val. But we have Gen Z, who we talk about a lot. We're basically 27 and under. But here we go. The alphas. Get what? The alphas, which this is your two daughters.
Yeah.
Now, your two daughters. The alphas are now turning like 15, 16. They're going to be voting soon. But most importantly, I always say, I'm breaking news here. We broke it last week. Is 2025 is the beginning of a brand new generation. It's commonly called the beta generation, but on Continuum Mission, we call it the Bravo generation. Bravo generation. Guess what? 2025, if you're born, any woman right now who's pregnant or a baby born in 2025, they're born into a new generation. So how important now when we're talking about getting our ducks in a row after graduating high school? How important now, because the younger generation's listening in, everybody. Well, and welcome to the internet world and social media world. The younger generation, you can't be censored or canceled. And then they hear everything, and they will hear this today. I'm going to turn it back to you, Val. Please introduce our next guest. No matter what, have Father Mike take at least a minute and tell our listeners and viewers who he is.
Yes.
He's an old staple on Continuum Mission Radio.
Let's bring him in. This is Father Mike. Take the microphone and welcome to Continuum Mission on the Veteran Channels. It's all yours, Father Mike.
Well, thank you. It's nice seeing you both, and it's an honor to be here today. I've been with you before, and of course, you know that I worked with James McCormick and Rich Kilblain for several years on their podcast. And well, I'm all about education. I've been a professor as well as a priest, and I'm very, very interested in this concept because I was in the military at 17 years old. I had a purpose. I was treated like an adult, and I had to work like an adult, and I received pay like an adult. And having taught in a university over 20 years now, many of them are not prepared. As Val said earlier, they really don't know what they want to do. They don't have the discipline to really embrace that new freedom. And so I think we have to provide an alternative for the young people so we can develop their leadership skills so that they can have some success if it's in a trade, because many of them are aimless in the college classroom, not sure what their calling is, what their direction is. And so I'm very excited to be a part of this podcast today. And if there's anything that I can add, please ask me. Thank you very much.
Oh, that is so exciting to hear, just your personal experience of what it was like for you. And do you think there's like a return, like I call it return to reason almost, where people are seeing this outside system not working like it used to?
I saw something this morning about a professor, probably a boomer like myself, and was talking about how the generation that she was teaching were unmotivated And she said, primarily because, they were told the world is going to end in 12 years. And I think finally all the propaganda has been looked at by this generation, and they're realizing they've been sold a bill of goods. So I'm very hopeful that we'll have some new direction, but we have to provide, those opportunities, just like Greg and you are talking about.
Father, real quick, I want you to, because I remember this from a previous show, you are in the midst of higher education. And if you would talk really briefly, if you would, just about your degrees and stuff, you got, pat yourself on the back, but also you had described kids, how unprepared they are. Literally, when I want to hear, like, when they walk into the classroom or when they're dealing with you. Take a minute, would you, just on those issues?
Okay. I'm teaching a couple seminary courses this semester. I haven't been in, the undergraduate situation for a couple of years, but God has blessed me. I have a bachelor's degree from Holy Apostles College and Seminary. I've got a master's of divinity from Yale University Divinity School. I have a THM, a master's of theology, postgraduate degree from Harvard University Divinity School, and I have a PhD from an Orthodox school. I did work at Cambridge in England. I have an advanced certificate from there. I actually finished my ABD there before I finished the PhD. So I have been involved also as a pastor and in seminary. But yes, my daughter just entered medical school. She got married a couple of years ago and had a baby just a year or so afterwards. And we're just excited. But there's so much more development that has to take place than just being thrown into this situation where there's so much propaganda and you really don't get to experience or experiment about really what's lodged in your heart, what your calling might be and your purpose. And so, yeah, I, because of my own background, before the Lord really did a miracle for me, I look at the students and they're there because of parental pressure. They're there because that's the thing to do. And then they're going to acquire this great debt that they're not going to know how to pay. And so there has to be an alternative. I try to encourage people to go into the military because there's so many opportunities. But unfortunately, a lot of them are not prepared physically. And therefore, they can't qualify, especially now with the new Department of Defense Secretary. The standards are once again being placed to where they should be. So I just don't think our generation has mentored or provided the apprenticeship programs like you're talking about. Right. So they're kind of aimless, and you get these counselors that have done nothing but been in academia and in counseling.
Right. Question for you. I'm really interested in how this reflects on the actual classroom. Again, we got this 1 year, everybody takes a break. You're the typical type of person, leader, that would be one of these mentors for that internship for a year. I know a couple of folks like me, like Captain James, like Miss Val, who do the same thing. I want your opinion on it. Was one of the things off of the checklist here, and I want your opinion on it because we discussed it last time. Because we're talking about preparation, that they're so under prepared. Number four, curriculum to include studies of the U.S. Constitution, Bill of Rights, Pledge of Allegiance, household financial management, manners, verbal and written skills, and working understanding of the English language. Because that section, number 4 alone, I don't see many kids that are prepared with even a ghost of a chance to get through that. But what are your opinions? Because you'd basically be teaching that curriculum, Father. Go ahead.
Yeah, I pick up the Constitution of the United States right here next to my computer, And when we would do stuff on our radio podcast, we would discuss certain things. Absolutely. If you ever hear interviews of young people who are asked historical questions, I know it drives my wife and I crazy because she taught in a Christian classical school, which has a high emphasis on history. And then the natural everyday skills. My children will tell me they got a great deal from YouTube. I'm not really a hands-on person as far as carpentry or mechanics or things of that nature. Did have some shop courses, but just being prepared for life. Recently, we've had people, I don't have a checkbook. I don't know how to write a check. I need a check. Could you write me a check? Just basic skills. And I think they've been so devoid of any interaction with other people, and everything's kind of ethereal and not really down to earth, everyday chores, that they come unprepared for life, never mind for college, unprepared for life. So how do I handle this? When you're in the military that young, you get a lot of supervision, but then, they throw you the ball and you have to run with it. So absolutely, not only are they unprepared educationally, they're unprepared to live life independent. Right. That's why we have, people in their parents' basements at 26, 30, because they haven't been given responsibility nor accountability.
Father, I have a question for you, and this comes right from Jordan Peterson. It's kind of on this issue: is our kids going to grow up, especially young men? Like you say, we get kids in their 30s, 40s that are wearing their hats on backwards, their pants halfway down. Okay. I wanted to get your feeling on it. Jordan Peterson said that, contrary to popular belief, men should get married sooner rather than later, especially if they found what they believe is their soulmate.
I was 22 and a half.
Ducks in a row. Otherwise, comment on that, because we talked about that a little bit in the past. Go ahead.
See, not unless they're forced to take responsibility. I was married at 22 and a half. I married a very mature, and I don't mean mature, she was a couple of years older than me, but a very godly woman and educated. And I agree with that. I've heard Charlie Kirk say the same thing, because what happens is, until you take responsibility, you can't really say that you have any level of maturity. And so I remember, and I've said this before, but it helped motivate my life. One of my first fitness reports in the Navy, before I went in the Army, was he needs little or no supervision. And I knew that indicated that I had leadership skills, but my parents made me work, made me do chores. And so I was prepared. This was nothing new. I was prepared. And so I put some on the parents, trying to make it easy for them. And, I tease my daughter sometimes that she's going to be a doctor, when she goes through some difficult, I says, all preparing you for becoming a doctor. And so I don't think they're going to just all of a sudden rise up unless we give them the ball and not hold the ball and walk them into the end zone with it, but really give them responsibility and accountability. Because they say, oh, I'm independent, I'm an adult. No, you're not. You're still living off me. And so I just think there's a reality check, not to be rude or not to be crude or anything, but I don't think unless we give them the ball and let them experience life, they're not going to grow up.
And the opportunity, we can have all the preparation in the world, but we don't have the opportunity. Here we go. Go right back to graduate from high school, go into an internship or whatever, growth-wise, within a year or two, whatever, you're probably primed to get married, and to have children. We talked on the last show, when does a man change from boy to man, if you will? And my theory was when he has his own children. Val, you have it.
Yeah, I just want to mention we've got guests joining us too that are watching online. So thanks everyone for sharing this. Megan has a question this morning, and she's saying, are they not teaching this already in the military? And also, side question, what does it mean when the flag is upside down? So those are questions coming in this morning. I'll pass to you, gentlemen.
Father Mike on that.
Well, the military teaches you, basic skills, and then whatever, you're going to be in the military, then you get the focus on that. But I can remember being in basic training, and there was a guy who had so many potatoes in his ears, he had never learned. After my son went through basic training, and even when I've been a chaplain at basic training, what I've been told by the drill sergeants is we have to teach them sometimes in 8 weeks what their parents never taught them in 18 years. As regards the desecration of the flag and all the dishonor that people are trying to communicate, and hating their country, they ought to probably visit other countries. I've traveled a lot with the military and outside of the military, and I always feel like Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz when I come back. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. So I can't really speak exactly to what that means, but the military will give you what you're willing to put in. So if you want to stay later and say, I don't really know this really well, people will always be eager to share with you. But if you don't come with basic skills from life, then they've got to do it all over again. Like I said, this is what this one drill sergeant said to me. We usually have to do in 8 weeks what parents haven't done for 18 years. So I think, parents are letting other people and other things raise their children. My wife and I had 5 children, and we also, which we adopted, and we also fostered over 40 children in 7 years. And you can see the deficiencies and the deficits in these young people because the parents are not giving them attention. They're not reading to them. They're not talking to them. They're sending them off, with electronic things. And so when you talk about mentorship and apprenticeship, to actually have someone's attention who can, answer your questions, it's a wonderful thing. And if you have a good leader in the military, that can happen. But basically, you're expected to come with certain human skills so that they can pick up and give you your specific skills from there.
Father Mike, question for you. Do you see, it's a standard question, do you see hope for the younger generations? Because now we're talking Gen Z and the Alphas and even the upcoming Bravo generation. Do you see hope in especially if we could get this grade 13 done? But go ahead on that.
Not with the generation that is providing them with leadership and not with all the propaganda that they're being fed in school and in college. I'm a voracious reader. I don't see young people reading. I taught, as you know, critical thinking for 4 years, 3 classes a semester. They know what they've been told to think, but they don't know how to critically think. They don't understand premises and conclusion, syllogistic, type of things in that regard, in the classical sense. Not really. I'll be honest with you. Aristotle says you got to watch as an older man, and I think I'm the oldest here, that you don't get cynical. But unless, there's certainly there's hope in God, when you start to lay hold of the purpose that God put all the endowments and gifts and talents in you for. But with the leadership that we have right now, I'm not very hopeful that they're talking to young people about making sacrifices, what it really takes. And I encouraged my daughter through the whole time, taking the MCATs, not doing as well as she thought, and then taking them again. And, you need a coach. Everybody needs a coach. And I'm not so sure, parents will say things like, well, we're not going to tell them what to do religiously, or they'll figure it out on the bus. They'll figure it out for themselves. Like there's no leadership. We propose things. We don't impose them. But you need leadership. So unless the leadership, like what you're initiating, takes place, it's not going to happen, and there won't be any hope. No. I like what Mike Rowe is doing.
Oh, don't
Um,
you?
yeah, I think I'm very blessed by that. But we think that people, we don't raise children like we raise animals, or grow a garden. We have to be very intentional. I'm still very much involved in the lives of my children, and that's because I laid a foundation. And so I don't think it's going to happen from the
Yeah.
colleges. I don't
Right.
think it's going to happen in the military unless you have a self-motivated person that says, I want these opportunities. I want to go to OCS, or I want to go to this school.
Right.
But if you don't have this self-starter mentality, when that guy said to me, needs little or no supervision, I was 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. Because there's something about self-mastery. You got to take the responsibility. Then someone can bring you further on who's been there, not somebody who's talking about it in an office as a counselor.
Father Mike.
Oh, good. I love it. I have to cheer because that's
Yeah.
just, you are on fire. That is amazing. So good.
Thank you.
Father Mike, I have a question for you, and I'll switch gears a little bit. But it really applies to this conversation. I am a person who believes in fatherhood, mentorship, and in my case, hockey, or whatever passion someone has. I believe in the United States of America right now, two things are missing that literally can, quote, fix our ails, fix our what's ailing. One is fatherless households. Hello. Charlie Kirk talks about this all the time. I'm sick of the elephant in the room stuff. Let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Fatherless households, number one. And I do believe, and I also believe in the mentorship, like moral fabric thing of a core. I want you to talk about that a little bit. But the curveball is, and I've asked previous guests this, tell me a story about your father or what that means to you.
Okay.
It can be something, whether you ever said it publicly or not, or whatever your message is here. Go ahead.
The operative word here is functional fatherhood. Okay. The people who, and I don't say this disparagingly, but who gave birth to my children were sperm donors. Just because you can produce a child doesn't make you a father. Now, I had a very unfunctional father. My father was 100% disabled vet, spent time in jail and prison, psychiatric ward. God has worked great things in me, and I knew that I had to have a surrogate in order to give the fathering to my children, especially my son, who I love very much. He's a combat veteran from Afghanistan. And so my experience was very poor. I had some priests in the background, some uncles, but no functionality. So I don't think people take the role of father very seriously. Now, I'm a spiritual father to many people, and but we don't take that seriously enough. I'm just there, that it has to be intentional. So I guess because of the great deficit that I had a very strong mother, but that wasn't necessarily a replacement for my father. And although there were dregs of it in the military and through relatives and stuff, really, when someone took an interest in developing, in helping me, mentoring me, then I began to see some of the fruit. And so for my own children, they're all different as far as our family, all, different DNAs. Many of you know that we lost a daughter at 24 years old. We had very high risk children that we adopted, at least 3 of them. And one was a fentanyl death, unfortunately. So I'm very touched by that. But it's a big challenge and it takes a lot of energy. And I don't believe most men, I know a lot of men, they don't want to grow up. They're still boys. They still have their toys and stuff like that. You have 2 jobs. When you come home from work, you have a second job, and that's to your family. And, I wasn't a perfect father. My wife will tell you, I spent time with the kids. I took them out. I always, had a busy ministry. I was doing education. And so the operative word here is functional. Just because you have a man in the house
Right.
doesn't mean you have a man in the house.
That is, boy, that's so important. That's so beautifully put, because that's true. Because indeed, there are a lot of men out there that have completely destroyed their household. I think
Mhm.
you might know, I didn't even meet my father till I was 41 years old.
Wow.
So what I find interesting, this is kind of a side note, you're 17 years old. Did you lie when you went? Did you lie about your age to get
No,
into
no, my father signed it. No, I didn't lie. And if you see my picture on Facebook, when I didn't look like I was a little baby, but no, they
But
allowed, during Vietnam, I had flat feet. And later on, when I went in the Army, they were telling me, they were complaining about them. I went on after, again, 23 years. I said, it didn't bother you during Vietnam. No, my father, he signed the papers and goodbye.
but you're 17 years old
Mm-hmm.
and you had your ducks in a row.
Well, I was
Right.
I was a troubled youth.
Sure, but
I
I'm
was
talking
running, but the Lord allowed me to run into His arms, which was interesting. But I mean, so when I deal with a lot of the students, oh, I didn't remember to do my paper, I overslept to come to class. It's like I'm the wrong person for you to do that with, because and I wouldn't accept that from my children. So I mean, as a priest, apostolically, the priest was the husband of one wife and children who believe. I had some Catholic priests that I trained under said, "You're more apostolic than we are." You have the domestic church really proves what kind of leadership you can do on a larger scale. So that's why it's important to be able to show your leadership in the home. But my greatest honor today is when my children reach out to me, as very successful, full-fledged adults.
It sure
For the most
sounds like
part.
you quote broke the chain. You decided what kind of father you wanted to be, not only in the church,
I
etc.
broke the curse, Greg, if I can say it that way. I
As
broke the
simple as it
curse
is,
by God's grace. Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
So don't let anyone tell you that you can't break the chain.
Now,
It
I
can be
just
done.
baptized my grandson. My grandfather was Michael because he was born on St. Michael's Day, September 29th in Italy. My father's Michael. I'm Michael the third. My son's the fourth. My grandson's the fifth. And I just baptized him. Beautiful ceremony. You can see it on Facebook. And so that legacy, and he was very serious about it, and was trained, and a lot of back and forth, answered questions publicly. About 25 people there. And so, no, it's very important. And so, even now, Paul said you have many tutors, but not many fathers. People call me father. It's not just because they're being respectful, or if you call someone reverend or whatever. It's because you're fulfilling a place in fathering along their spiritual lives. And so I take that very seriously.
Right.
In that regard, because there is a lack. And so sometimes I've had to be a father for adults who never had a natural father,
Right.
as I've mentored and discipled them on a spiritual level.
Father Mike, a lot of our folks have not seen you, met you, or whatever, and I'd like you to touch on one thing, and that is you are a captain. You're a retired captain.
Retired. I didn't retire. I resigned.
Okay.
As a captain. Mm-hmm.
You're a former captain in the United States Army, and you did a tour or two, couple tours or two, as a chaplain. Am I correct?
During Vietnam, I was in Navy. Okay.
Sure.
And then I served for 7 years, 2 years in the reserves, almost 3, because I did taught ROTC. But I was in Korea unaccompanied, Fort Bragg a great deal of the time. And, I was also, Fort Leonard Wood, different places when I was with the reserves. But I was an instructor. I was an ethics instructor at Fort Eustis. And I was honored and blessed to get instructor of the quarter, instructor of the year. I competed all Army. And So, worked with a lot, especially at Fort Bragg, special forces and different things of that nature, and, traveled a great deal. And there is a lack of leadership and a lack of someone that'll say, like the Apostle Paul said, follow me as I follow Christ. There are some leaders, just watch me, do what I do. See, a lot of people are pointers or cheerleaders rather than, I wanted to break the 3 hour. We're allowed 4 hours. Now, mind you, I was in my late 40s. And as one guy said to me, I'll help you. And so I followed his pace for 12 and a half miles. And I did it in 2 hours and 54 minutes. The commander was saying, Chaplain, you're picking up rides? No, I had someone, he had been a former drill sergeant. He had gone to OCS. That Timothy Cross, I'll say his name, God bless him. He said, just follow my pace. And I was able, they give you 4 hours. I wanted to break 3. I was able to do it in 2 hours and 54. He didn't say, oh, do this, eat that. He just said, follow my pace. And
Wow.
I did it by the grace of God. And I was more than 45, I know, but that's what we don't have. We have a lot of pointers, a lot of cheerleaders, but no one to get their arms, hands dirty, roll up their sleeves and get in, to the trenches with the young person and say, I'll train you, but this is what's going to cost you. Okay. If you make it too easy, okay. Can you imagine being an apprentice of Michelangelo? I mean, I have sat under some wonderful world-renowned theologians who have been my teachers. I knew one of them, I won't mention his name, but I went to another Ivy League school and I knew the fact that he had validated me, that alone would have given me entrance, whether or not I had good grades, which I did or not. But I just think that when you do a PhD, it depends on who you're sitting under. Oh, I did my PhD with such and such. See, and I think that if we create that kind of environment, someone is a master trainer here or whatever. My wife was a master trainer with the Army Family Team Building in the Army and worked for 82nd Airborne and the Corps as well. There are master trainers, but even in fatherhood, even in finance, even in sexuality, I love my Catholic priest friends, but I have a lot more credibility when I talk to married families about sexual adjustments, children, different things of that nature. And I think people need someone who are not talking out of a textbook. They're talking out of a life. I'll be married 50 years next June 26th.
Wow.
2026. And
Wow.
I'm really trusting God we can have a special time for that. And someone told me that you have credibility by your credentials. And I think that someone who's worked in a field for a long time, let's say an auto mechanic or something of that nature, a welder or whatever. And I think that, you've been successful paying your bills. I've worked with a lot of people that they weren't successful paying their bills. They didn't know anything about a budget. They just never had any basic family skills. And so you get a dysfunctional guy like that, and now you put him in a family setting. He doesn't know how to be a husband. He doesn't know how to be a father. He doesn't know how to be a citizen. Okay, these are all basic skills that need to be addressed. And like you said, it's the elephant in the room that's not being spoken about.
That's right. Before we get too much further into the show, we've got, the way I see it, probably about 10 minutes left. But Father, before we let you go, for sure, you're a published author. You've obviously written a lot of stuff. Please tell people what you have written, where people can find your work. And then no matter what, we're going to have Val close it out here, or maybe ask you a final question or two. But go ahead on that, Father Mike. People will love to read your stuff.
One of the books I'm really proud of is called From Valor to Virtue, The Moral Development of the Brave. You can get it on Amazon. It's directed to those police personnel as well as military. Now, I've done some theological work. There's one book I wrote with Dr. John Stankel called God Was Not Silent. I also have published in Cambridge Scholars some work on St. Thomas Aquinas. Right now, I'm in the midst of, because my PhD is in the process of being published, but there are a lot of essays I wrote about the Virgin Mary that I'm going to publish in a book. And I'm also dialoguing with a Protestant, kind of a bridge builder, some of those things that keep us away, those who are more high church and sacramental, liturgical, from them, or those who don't see the same thing. I want to build some bridges, use my academia in that way. So, but Father Michael Pacella III, Pacella, and on Amazon.
Val, do you have I'm sure a question or two for Father Mike. By the way, thank you so much for being here, Father. This has been awesome. Feels like the old days with Continue Mission.
Well, I was in a police car with a patrolman and a police sergeant, and I just felt like this is an opportunity. I need to be there. So thank you.
That's so nice. Val Olson, back to you.
Yeah, just a huge thank you. Every time we get a chance to speak, you inspire me personally, and you just speak right to the heart. And I think that we always say authenticity is the currency. And no matter where you go, you are a father to the broken. And I think that when you're in that environment, that's what changes things. So for our next generation, we're talking about grade 13. I really hope you are going to get on board with this in some kind of way and leave your mark, because I have such high hope, and a year can do so many things. It really can change the course of your life, and it can put you on a new path. And so I believe in this grade 13 with my whole heart. I mean, we've been talking about it for years, Greg, but I feel like it's going to be approaching soon. So thank you. I guess if I had one question, what advice do you have for those that are lost, maybe, and where they can start? What words of encouragement would you have for them?
Read, pray. Don't look at the older generation as being not relevant. There's so much wisdom that you can draw. When someone has been there, done that, the shirt's so old, he threw it out. I think that we don't have that generational wisdom anymore. So they're reinventing the wheel. Read. I got so many books all around me. I believe the readers are the leaders. And I believe people need to seek God for their purpose. Apostle Paul said, I want to lay hold of that for which I was laid hold of for. There's nothing better than knowing your destiny and your purpose and cultivating that and having others who have more developed aspects of that purpose to give you input. So that would be my advice. And life goes by so fast. I was 17 then. I'm 71 now. I mean, it went fast. It went fast.
The days, when you get older, the days are long and the years are short.
Yes.
Before I forget, congratulations on the 50th coming up.
Oh.
That very, very few people are going to be able to have that privilege, Father Mike. I always joke, make sure you marry your just very best friend, because 50 years is a long time. If you would, I would like you to continue mission thing. And would you close us out in prayer? We're not closing the show because we'll go back to me and Val. We'll close things out. But would you be kind enough to do that? You were wonderful
honored.
in the old days. Go ahead, sir.
Heavenly Father, I thank you for this opportunity. I thank you for Greg and Val and for all the listeners, Lord, who have a quest for more. And I just pray that all of these plans will come to fruition, that you'll just bless everything that takes place so that those who really need this guidance will receive it. I ask and pray these things in Jesus' name, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
So how do I sound off, or how do I?
Val will kick you out of the studio.
Okay.
Well, so
The
good
cool
to see you. God bless you, Father Mike.
Say again.
I said it's so good to see you, and God bless you.
Thank you. Anytime, please call. I'm honored to come.
We will be doing more. And the cool thing about Val Olson, she's our facilitator. So she's just like an old a bouncer at a bar. She just 86 you from the show anytime she wants. God love you.
All right.
This meant a lot to me, especially on short notice. And I'll call you Captain, just like I do Captain James.
Very good.
And there's going to be more down the road. You really contributed to this conversation today, and God bless you. We haven't caught up in a while, so thank you very
Okay.
much. Father
Thank
Mike.
you for calling. God.
Wow. Oh my goodness. There is so much. There are so many quotes.
Wow.
Every time he speaks, I write down like my favorite quotes. So I'm just going to bring them up on my phone because they were so good today. Let's see. I have quite a few of them. The one about the heart. It'll take me a minute.
And apologies, we had a listener, Thomas Payne. He wanted to ask Father Mike a question, and sorry, we got tight on schedule there. So perhaps next time. But thank you, Thomas, for logging on. That came through YouTube, as a matter of fact, Val. YouTube live.
We have lots of people watching today, and that are sharing, and that's what it's all about, sharing this broadcast. But Father Mike was talking about the condition of our hearts, and to me, that's where we have to go. You know, you can't bypass it, you can't fake it, and he just exudes stability. You know, like that's what I see around him is just order, stability, and people are looking for that today. Doesn't matter if what group they're with, whether they're young or old. People are looking for their place, their purpose, their mission, and that's really what Father Mike carries. And I love how you guys talk about fatherhood, the significance, the importance of it, and him touching today on he's adopted many children, but the role he plays in the adult's life, I think, is something that really needs to be addressed. It's something we don't really talk about, but it's definitely something that's affecting our generations right now, our younger people, and these are going to be tomorrow's leaders. So we have to really be honest, get honest with what we still need in this world and who we are supposed to be. And it's people like Father Mike, like yourself, like Captain James, like so many of you out there. And I want to, before I give you the mic, Greg, I just want to touch really quickly on honoring our vets today and saying 16.9 million of you in the United States watching this. This is for you. And we are still developing the veteran channel. So our official launch is coming in September, but it's just, here we are. We're in the early part of this dream, and we want to make it the best it can be, and it's all for you. So we honor our law enforcement, our military, all our men and women of service who have accepted that call of a higher calling, and we want to meet you right where you're at. So this is your home place. So over to you, Greg.
Indeed, Val. Thank you so much, and thank you for facilitating another great show. This is good. This indeed is Continue Mission Radio, and it is platformed on the Veteran Channel, a brand new channel. This is actually the fourth of their kind of pilots, their first run-throughs, which has been August. So watch for the Veteran Channel in September, hopefully scheduled September 3rd, this time next week. But indeed, what's very cool, the Veteran Channel is founded by Captain James McCormick. That brand has been around over a decade. Father Mike Pacella has been a consistent player every week on that channel. So this is really just an extension of that. However, the cool thing about this not only is going out to all the platforms you see today. We've got all the major social media platforms. It's always on my YouTube channel. It's always on my Rumble. But it's going to go out to Apple TV, Amazon TV, Roku, and a number of other platforms. So I'm excited about that. You did a fabulous job today. We're right at 1 hour here, and I will always say and Val, feel free to sign off here after me, but I will say to folks, and I mean it, and we did it today. I learned stuff from Father Mike that I didn't know before, is wake up in kindergarten every day. There is so much to learn and so little time, because before you know it, you're in first grade. God love you, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Val Wilson, back to you, and you can sign us off. Thanks, everyone.
It's so true. It's so true. Just to have today is precious, and we don't take it for granted for a second. So we really thank you for joining today and sharing this broadcast. And if you have a story that you want to share or a topic you want to discuss on, please send it to us, ask us, because we love digging into things and we love getting to know you and where you're at in your life. And also, don't forget to watch, as Greg said, go on his YouTube channel. You can just type in whatever topic you want. Captain James is in DC. He is, we don't know where he is at this second, but he's on 24/7. He's attending meetings. He's working towards fixing problems. And that's what we do here, is we don't just give you fluff. We give you real problems, we address them, and we find solutions. And Greg, I have to say, I was watching some of our segments on replay, because as you say, it's important to look at your past work.
Right.
And you are constantly bringing solutions and people to the table that really want to course correct. And I think that's what it's all about, is for those of us that want to course correct, and those of us who seek out, I call it an elevated way of living. It's really peeling the onion back and looking inside yourself and doing the hard work. And that's not, it might be, there's some pain. Of course there is, but that's where you really get to the root of stuff and where you can go forward. And there's so much freedom found in that, as Father Mike shared today. So thanks, everyone. Greg, I'm going to give it back to you to sign off.
Just God bless everybody out there. We will see you same bat time, same bat place next week. But go ahead and sign us out, Val. Thank you so much. God love you guys. Okay. See ya.
Thanks, everyone. We are recruiting, and your mission starts now.
Welcome to Continue Mission Radio with Captain James McCormick. By veterans, for veterans. Guest hosts tonight are author Greg Meekin and Miss Val, our military radio gal. Continue Mission starts now.
You got me